Android phones are getting more secure with a Google mandate.
So John, we've been lamenting the state of security in Android for a while here, but it sounds like Google has a plan to sort of force the OEMs to support the devices for at least a little while. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Sure, yeah. What they've kind of done is they've formalized a plan that's kind of been out there for some time, and that flagship devices, so devices that have more than 100,000 customers on them, have to get basically 2 years of support. So that means that they're going to get patches at least 4 times within 1 year of the launch of a new device, and that the second year they're going to get at least, I don't know, it's also probably 4 if you really want to think about it, but Android devices typically only have about 2 years worth of life anyway, so this should carry most devices through, basically from introduction through their normal usable life, getting a security patch.
We know the importance of patching, and now that they're going to enforce this with their devices, you know that at least for 2 years, you're going to have a pretty secure environment, right? The problem is, I think, from my perspective, is that most people hold on to their devices for much more than 2 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've seen statistics on how many devices older than 2 years are still out there, but I have to imagine that number is staggering.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I don't mean that isn't like in necessarily a negative way. It's just like you said, people hold on to the devices as long as they get use out of them. The challenge you run into is that with, like I said, these devices, operating system updates, security patch updates, all these things are, a bit of a challenge to keep track of. So I don't know. I think most of the OEMs, especially the major ones, do a pretty darn good job of keeping those patches up to date. Even 3, sometimes 4 years past their distribution. But it is, it's not guaranteed. And I think that's what Google's trying to do here, is to make it a little bit more on that guarantee side.
So does this apply to more than just handsets, though? Like if I have an Android tablet or a set-top TV device or a refrigerator. I mean, what does this apply to? Only certain classes of devices?
Yeah, it gets a little bit. The answer is yes and no. I think that you find that those IoT devices or refrigerators don't sell that flagship number, that magic number, as much. You also find the tablets are a little bit more, I don't know, I don't want to say lacking, but they're a little bit more delayed at times with updates. Again, the big ones, the big name ones are, but if you go buy, something off of from your neighbor who picked it up as a freebie, from something, or, at a marketing thing or whatever, a lot of those devices that are made overseas, the tablets and whatnot, are probably never going to get an update. I mean, ever.
Yeah, I guess I also would want to know how are they going to sort of, and I know enforce is too strong of a word, but how are they going to ensure that the updates actually do get installed on these end devices? So, what's the method? So is it gonna pop up a message on the thing saying, hey, I've got an update, you need to do this, and then, and then be kind of intrusive in terms of, being in your face to say, hey, by the way, there was one I told you about last week, you haven't installed it, you need to do that kind of stuff.
Well, that's how Android phones actually do it these days. You'll get a little icon that says, updates available, you'll download it, and then it'll say, when you're ready, it's going to reboot your device, but you'll get the installation.
Right.
So it does interact with the user. I think that's the right way to do it. I hope that's something mandated by the user interface. Well, if it's Android and they don't make too many patches to it, it should probably work that way. So I'm excited to see how it pans out. Hopefully they can discover that it's not such a painful process to provide these patches for longer periods of time than they're actually required to by their agreement. And maybe it just becomes a regular thing that now patching is part of that life cycle, and it just works out.